In this lesson, we're going to build out the front of our car. All right, so great job so far. I'm really liking how this is turning out. The shape is holding up very well. If you hit F4, you can see that without your wireframe, and this can kind of help you see any problem areas that you might be having. Some things that I see really quickly, I see a little bit of a flat spot right in here, but that can be taken care of very easily by just coming in and moving some of those vertices around. You could even come in and you could say, all right, well, let's grab all of these polygons here, and let's get rid of those. And what we could do is we can actually make those planar. And so it'll kind of try to flatten those out a little bit more. And it kind of pulls them out some. And then if you take a look at that, your weird little seam there is gone. So you just kind of have to pay attention to what you have selected and then hit Make Planar. And it kind of straightens it up a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and build out the front of our car. Let's go to Edit Poly and Edge Mode. And let's come in and let's start this whole process. Now this can be a little daunting at first because you can see that we have a very complex front end here. It's not just a normal slope that we might see in different types of cars with a little bit of different details here and there. It's got a very different grille. And so what I want to do is I want to block in just the area around the top of the headlight and where the hood is meeting. So I just want to get everything ready for the hood for right now, and then we'll worry about the actual grille in a later lesson. So first thing, let's grab these edges right here. Let's hold Shift and drag those straight up. Okay, like that. And I'm going to take this edge right here and I'm going to pull that down until it meets that seam, right where the headlight starts. Okay, let's take this and pull it up, and I'm going to just match that until to where it comes up to the side of the headlight right there. And then I'm going to take this vertex and I'm going to target weld that to here just to connect all of that together. Let's pull this back down just a little bit right there. And then make sure that you go ahead and move those vertices. So select both of those, go to your front view, and then let's pull that forward until that meets the points in our reference image. So this is going to be at the bottom corner of that headlight, and that line should come right up the side like that. Now, one thing that I am already noticing are these points right here. Now, you might be having a hard time seeing that, but let's take a look at this really quickly. You can see that this point right here comes right across the top of that, but it really needs to kind of cut this in half a little bit. We need this to flow a little bit better. So I'm going to turn on my edge constraint, and I'm going to move those vertices to where it basically comes up and it splits those polygons. Okay. So we'll get something that looks kind of like this, and we're going to do that all the way up here. Okay, and that's going to start to alleviate some of that pinch that we were having here. So now we're getting the side of our car to really start to flow together and give us a really nice shape. So I'm looking at it at different angles, pushing and pulling as I go along. Looks good. Hit Alt-X and then turn off vertex mode if you want to see that. Notice how that really smoothed out. Okay, really, really nice. Still got a little bit of a pinch there, but again, that will go away whenever we start to bring in our control loops. All right, so let's continue on. Let's go to Edge Mode, and let's grab this edge right here. Let's go to our top view, and we're just going to trace out that line up against the hood. So hold down Shift and drag that down, but if it doesn't drag down like normal, you can always check your constraints. Make sure that's set to none. Now hold Shift and drag that out, and there we go. I'm going to drag it out to about this point here where it's even with this set of edges, and then continue on with polygons being about the same size as we go along here. You'll find that as you begin extruding your edges, if you keep them about the same size, you can almost always match them up with a set of polygons somewhere else in the model. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move these points around to just kind of follow the flow in the direction that we're going, so that way it's following the edge of our hood here. Hit Alt-X if you need to kind of get that to match a little closer to your seam. we go. Looking nice and neat. All right, happy with that so far. Okay, now let's take this edge. Let's hold Shift. Let's drag that across to here. But before we do that really quickly, let's hit Control Z. Almost forgot. Let's take this edge. Let's go to our left view. Let's pull that down. And let's get that started before we even go any further. I want to pull this to where it's touching this point right here. You might be asking, how do I know what that is? This is the top of it. Okay, and so that first vertex right there, that should be touching the corner, and that's going to come out. So as of right now, we're looking at that back face there. Let's take this edge, and let's just bring that right down next to that. So we're going to bring it down to right about here. Remember, this edge right here is actually pointing up a little bit because we come up to a point on this. We're creating that. We have that ridge there. So let's pull this down till it meets the hood there. Now we can't really see the line of the hood on this one, so we have to kind of give it our best guess and just kind of go with what feels right. Let me select that edge right there. Pull that down, and you should get a nice flowing edge, just like this. All right. So now let's go to our front view. Let's make sure that those points are still matching up. They're looking pretty good for the most part. I'm going to bring that down just a little bit further. Okay. This looks good. Let me take this one. Let me pull these down some. I feel like they're pushing in just a little bit too far. Okay, so it should look something kind of like this. Hit Alt-X and just kind of back up away from it a little bit so you can kind of see that ridge there. And I'm pretty happy with the way that's shaped there. All right, now let's grab that edge again. Let's go to our top view, hold Shift. Let's drag this out. And we'll do this maybe 2 or 3 times. Go to there. And let's straighten up that edge right there. We're going to use Make Planar in the Z, so that way it's straight. And then we're going to type in 0 in our X direction, so it's perfectly centered on our reference. Go vertex by vertex and just kind of pulling these around, making sure that they're nice and even here. Hit Alt-X so that way you can manage that a little bit better. So I'm going to pull these vertices together at the same time. It should look something like that. All right, very good. So now we've got that blocked in. Really quickly, we've got to make sure that we pull it in, though, with the rest of our geometry here. So this set of vertices right here for the top of this, those look pretty good. It's pretty flat across the top of that. But these bottom vertices, they don't match our reference image. So let's pull that down. And actually, let's grab that one too. Go to our left view. Let me pull that down to where it matches that slope. And then we're going to take that corner right there and we're going to pull that down too. So now what we'll have is we'll have this nice little slope that gradually goes into the top of that grill. Okay. Go ahead and just give it a quick check. Looking at your shape there. Go to your front view. That's looking pretty good. Happy with that so far. The rest of our shape looks pretty good. We'll do a little bit of tweaking here and there as we need to, but we've got that blocked in. Now the final thing that we need to do, really quickly, if we go to our top view, you can see that we have this part here, and this is actually going to start around the top of the hood, and that's where we're going to actually begin in our next lesson, where we're going to build the hood. So I'll see you then.